Mm, yeah. What is this? Day 14 of the RPGA Brigade's RPG a Day Challenge for 2017. Which RPG do you prefer for open-ended campaign play? Well, what is open-ended campaign play to you? What does it mean to me? Okay, what open-ended gaming to me means is we've set up I've, as a GM or as a player, I'm involved in a campaign that potentially could be played for one session or 10, can run for a year or 6 months. It has no, it's like an open sandbox. It has no end result in goal. There's no MacGuffin or uber bad guy that we're supposed to defeat, and then that's the conclusion of the particular campaign. That's not to say that you can't take the characters and the players onto a new campaign with a new set of goals, but open end means that the goals are just to enjoy yourself and to play and see what comes. And I'm like I said, 20. I said about 20 game systems, roughly floating around in my arsenal, and I prefer open-ended campaign. Well, I have to say, and I know for some, it's cliche, but Dungeons and Dragons, the D&D is the gorilla of the game world, and it has so many options and potentials for doing the open-end style of play. And I can do it because, in part, one is I'm very well versed in this stuff, enough so that I know where I look up stuff if I need to know things that I don't need to memorize. I don't have to have an encyclopedia of rules in my head. I know that the adjustments, I know the nuance, I know the spirit of what we're trying to achieve with this game system, and I can roll with it. I can adapt with it fairly easily. I can adjust it without too much effort, and I can get very complex or very lighthearted with it. No big deal. And of course, the second edition, everybody calls 2.0 now, but second edition, and then the 3.5, or 3.0, or however you want to look at it. And I got the 3.5 handbook up here somewhere. So, and I'm not overly sure too much in where they kind of blend together as far as I'm concerned. This is why they're compatible. I can use the two, and while this still runs off of the old THACO and a lot of adjusting stuff, and this is a transitioning over to D20, and the 3.5 is D20. The base material, the rules, the mechanics, they're all the same, or they're all linked. They're the foundation upon which this is the foundation that this one was built on and adapted to by the people who produced them. So, open end games, that's pretty easy, pretty short, pretty sweet. Some games lend themselves to being that way, and some don't. That's the one I would prefer for an open-ended campaign play. I can probably do it with most systems, but this one here is just the easiest. And from the older school, and I'm going to rephrase that, from the older player base, a lot of people used it, a lot of people played in it. That means it's easier for everybody to sit down at the table who haven't played as a group together to be on board with one another. And in likelihood, the majority of them are going to own their own player handbooks, maybe a few, maybe the rest of the books, but we're all on an even playing field. And that's the pyramid of gaming, I guess. I'll write that down for a moment. Pyramid of gaming. This is not a term I've ever heard. It's one I just cropped up. I'm sure there might be other variants on this, but think about it for a minute. For the older generations, we started out with very small, and it gradually grew into an inverted pyramid of game systems. And today, for you newer players, some of you 30-somethings and 20-somethings, you go out to the select shelves and you have all this new stuff that's built upon upon the old foundations of this older stuff. And then, in addition to that, maybe go over the bargain bookshelf, and here we are, some of the older stuff in the PDF versions that you can get for most of this thing. Hey, you have a huge, larger playing field of options than I did when I was a very young man when we started. I was in a very narrow game world where you only had a boast. I had access to C4, 5 game systems, and then the 80s came, and then they got more, and they doubled, and then they continued to keep doubling and doubling, and then now we've got, you know, well, what is there? 100 game systems that is basically a clone or a variant or a homage to the big gorilla. And I will get a lot of people that will disagree with that and argue that and make finer points of, well, this is Pathfinder's not that way, or Rollmaster is not that way. Well, is it or isn't it? You know, swords and sorcery, hack and slash, magic, beasts, uh, the rogues and the warriors and the wizards and the clerics, and we can have 100 different variants thereof of secondary classes or different names for the same classes, but it's the same stuff. It's just done in a slightly different manner, or maybe in a more a better compacted manner, or something thereof. But at the end of the day, it's all based on the same theme, the same genre. And whether you have this set of rules or this set of rules, the world we play is the same. Love it, hate it, just debate it. Isn't that what we're here for? That's just the way it goes, my friends. So there is my answer to, question 14.